All right, so today I'm going to be talking about a new product that I added to our garage, and it's something that helps with the convenience of having a charger in your garage. Now that we have two Teslas, we use our charger a lot more frequently than we did before, and because we have two, the one I want to charge isn't always right next to the charger. So traditionally what I do is I just run it across the floor, and I think about 5 times now I've tripped over it. But the biggest issue is with the kids when they get their toys out, they don't think about that thing being laying there, and I'm just terrified it's going to get ripped right out of the car or do some kind of damage to that charger. So EVHover is a product that it's made out of aluminum, and it's basically a retractable arm. So what it does is it allows you to clear over a car or just over up above your head, so that way the cord's not laying on the ground. So there's obviously a few benefits for not having it laying on the ground, but it makes it super convenient and probably a lot safer for some situations. Now, it's not going to be for everybody, but for those of you who have multiple EVs in your garage, this is something that's probably going to be an aha moment for you like it was for us. So this thing was like really easy to install. It's made out of aluminum. It's rated for like 250 pounds, but literally it's 3 screws, a couple of retaining bolts, and a bunch of carabiners. That was it. So it took me something like 20 minutes to install this thing. And what's nice is what it allows you to do is to nicely tuck away your charging cord when you're not using it, but also to just pull it out really easily and have the flexibility of moving that arm in any direction, exact distance that you want. So traditionally what I do when I'm charging the Model Y, since we back it into the garage, is I have to run underneath the Model 3, that back wheel, and it usually kind of bumps up against the bumper, but because it has to come straight out and then over, it really stretches on the cord. So by doing this, I don't have to stretch it anymore, and it's overhead, so it's not a tripping hazard anymore. So this thing comes in at $399, and with code BTG, you'll save $50 on that. So it's about $350 for you to get this, but the install could not have been easier. And what's nice about that as well is to remove it is going to be equally just as easy. So if you are to move, it's super easy to take off and to take it with you. So when you do install this, it's literally just a mounting bracket with 3 screws into a stud. The arm assembly is all pre-assembled, so you just mount that onto there, and then it's a number of carabiner clips essentially that'll hold your cable in place. But with that, it allows you to give more or less slack on the cable depending on your unique situation. So it makes it really easy to kind of customize exactly where you want this thing to go, how you want it to reach your car. So the only time we wouldn't necessarily use this is if we want to charge a car in the driveway, and sometimes we do. We run the cable underneath the garage door and to the car outside, but usually both cars are in the garage. So it works really well, and again, with code BTG, you'll save $50 and you can get this installed yourself. So I'm going to show you how to install it, and like I said, I think it was about 20 minutes to install. Now, a quick tip for you: the screws that they provide are really easy to strip, so make sure you have a fresh bit on your drill bit, but also drill pilot holes. It's a step that I used to skip all the time, but the older I've gotten, the more I get good about drilling those pilot holes. So make sure you do that step because you want these really tight, and they do provide you a couple of extra screws just in case you do strip them out, which is good. But make sure you drill those pilot holes, get them nice and deep, so that way you can get this as tight against the wall as possible. So once that arm is fully extended, if you don't have it secured to the wall really tight, it will have the tendency to start to lean depending on which direction you're storing it up against the wall. So again, you just pull that retractable arm out into the location you want it to be, and when you're done, it tucks nicely against the wall, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. So I'm going to show you how to install this, and you can take a look at it for yourself. Again, code BTG, you'll save $50 on this, and you can get it yourself. So once you open the box, you're going to go ahead and sort everything out. Make sure you take a look at all your bolts, get all the carabiners set out, and the arm, of course. You're going to remove these 2 retaining bolts on the bottom, and that just separates the back plate from the arm assembly. Go ahead and get that back plate in place. Drill your pilot hole once you get the height right. So once that's there, make sure that's really deep. Go ahead and install that 1 screw, not too tight, but just enough to kind of keep it snug. Then use the provided level, and that's how you're going to determine how to place the other 2 bolts. So once you get those bolts all secure, you're going to take the arm assembly and then it goes over the top. And once you come down to the bottom, you'll finger tighten these 2 retaining bolts. So once you get both of those finger tight, go ahead and get the provided Allen wrench, and you'll tighten them one at a time. So go ahead and get it nice and snug, and then go to the other one and get it nice and snug, and then go back and get them really tight. So at this point, go ahead and open up the retractable arm and start installing the carabiners, and they all go the same direction. There's a skinny side and a fatter side. Just install it through the fat side and flip it over until the skinny side is on each of those various locations all the way across. Now there's a little bolt here, remove that, and that's how your hook is going to go back on. Reinstall, use the provided Allen wrench to get it nice and tight. Now the key here is make sure that you give enough slack between your charger and that first carabiner hook. So that way, regardless of which direction you spin this thing around, you have plenty of slack there and you're not going to have too much tension between this and the charger. So as you can see, you can install a handle on either side, and it's made for both the Tesla charger and a J1772, which is nice. It just folds nicely up against the wall when you're not using it. And you can see how this kind of retracts. You can pull this out, plug in your car, walk underneath it, all that good stuff. So when you're done, you just kind of fold it back in place. So there you have it. As you can see, it was super easy to install. 99.9% of people can do this themselves. It's really not that hard. And because they provide you with that level, it's a really small, easy one to use. You don't even have to go look for a level. The only things you really need to have in addition to what they provide is something to cut the tag on it, and you're going to need a drill bit to drill some pilot holes. So everything else is right there. It's super easy to install. They even give you the Allen wrenches to tighten down the retaining bolts. So it couldn't have been easier. If this is something that you have had issues with in the past, this is really a good solution. So again, go to EVHover's website, use code BTG, you'll save 50 bucks. I've provided a link in the description, of course. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram @BeardedTesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.